Traditionally known for its gold, cocoa and more recently oil, Ghana is now diversifying beyond agriculture and mining and into digital, financial services, health, education, tourism, property development and more. Recognising these investment opportunities, the West African country recently won the International Investor Magazine's award for Best Foreign Direct Investment Destination in Africa. And the Business Personality of the Year in the region went to Yofi Grant, the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Centre, who I'm delighted to say joins me now. Yofi, hello to you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, so much to talk about. I want to kickstart by you just giving us an overall outlook for Ghana for this year and beyond.
Well, this year is an interesting year, but it's as exciting as it is challenging. Challenging because we have a few problems with debt, with inflation, like almost every other country in the world. And of course, our currency took a bit of a beating. But having said that, we are currently in discussions with the IMF to bring some relief or at least bring some stabilization into the macro. But beyond that, there's the opportunity that we have as a country. And I dare say that post-pandemic and in the recent years where there's been the conflict, I think it's put the world in a different place. It's put in a place where new relationships, new conversations are going to be had or are being had.
In person as well.
Absolutely. In the corridors of power among businesses, there's a lot of situations of onshoring, reshoring, and Ghana as a resource-rich country is going to take advantage of that. I mean, we are a country that is rich in mineral resource. We have gold, we have diamonds, we have manganese, we have bauxite, we have iron ore, we have lithium. Lithium, which is very soon going to become the gold of the future, only because of transition energies. So we have all these opportunities that are there. But just not that, just not in the extractives. We also have a policy-rich dialogue going on in Ghana today that says that we are certainly looking at transforming the economy and changing that narrative that we have in Africa. At least there's one country that is going to go beyond expectations. And I believe strongly in my heart and all that I do that, it will be Ghana. We were the first country to have independence in sub-Saharan Africa. And yet we are today, again, as host of the AFCFTA, the cheerleader and the spearhead of African economic and financial transformation. So when we look at Ghana today, beyond the traditional gold and cocoa, which has been the mainstay of the economy, we are also looking at transforming. So infrastructure is a great opportunity for investment. The government has made it very clear that we will work with private sector to provide opportunity for mutual growth. Of course, energy is required. So we are in the transition energy space. We are also looking for investors who will come in to bring sustainable, renewable energy to power our nascent industrialization. We are also looking at hospitality because Ghana's positioning as the middle of the world. We are the only country on latitude 0 and longitude 0, means that there's something must be said about that. I mean, it's important, but we are practically in the middle of the world. We are easy to reach, 8 hours beyond any other important region in the world. And so we want to take advantage of that in the hospitality space. Out of the 67 slave castles, for example, that were built in Africa, I'm told that some 34, a minimum of 34, are in Ghana. That in itself is very good for, historical and heritage, hospitality and tourism. But beyond that, we are a tropical rainforest country. So, we also are looking at natural, opportunities for tourism. And so if you're looking at nature tourism, as we call it, Ghana has ample opportunity for investments to happen there, to take advantage of that.
And what key advice would you have for somebody who is thinking of investing in Ghana? How do you go about it?
Oh, first of all, speak to me. Come to the GIPC. We are the nation's investment promotion agency right under the office of the president. So I report directly to the president through the chief of staff. So we are able to have quick feet in helping an investor onboard his business into a real, sustainable business. We look at investment not as an act. We look at it as a relationship. And as you know, every relationship needs courting, it needs information, it needs that, which we are providing from the GIPC. Additionally, we've set up a new office under GIPC for aftercare to make sure that we can preempt problems for investors and solve them and prevent them from happening, but also give support in facilitation to investors who come to Ghana.
Okay.
We are very clear on what the opportunities are and want to help them come in for mutual benefit.
Something I really want to talk about is the African Continental Free Trade Area. It's going to be enormous.
Absolutely.
Are you ready for it?
Yes, we are ready, but not ready enough. It's such a huge opportunity and a huge market. And as you know, Africa's population is a shade above 1.4 billion people, of which there's a very interesting demography. Some 60% of that is under the age of 30 years old or 35, you know. So that in itself is a consumer market waiting to happen, but also a potential source of labor getting ready. Now, by 2030, that would have grown to 1.7 billion people. And by 2050, it would have grown to 2.6 billion people, 1/4 of the world's population. Africa's population growth rate is faster than any other region in the world. Today, Africa is 1.4 billion. India has just become the biggest nation in the world with 1.47 billion. China is somewhere around 1.43 billion. So in terms of size, and as you know, population size is very important in some of the economic discussions because the opportunities are there. So the AFCFTA, being the largest single largest tariff-free market, offers opportunity just not for Africa but for the world. And for us in Africa, the ability to trade amongst ourselves is going to be a game changer.
And education is enormously important for that population as well.
Absolutely. And Ghana, a couple of years back, kicked in an education policy of free senior high school education to make sure that we train our people to get ready for that transition. Additionally, we also put in a policy called the 1D, 1F, the One District, One Factory policy, to ensure that we start a nascent industrialized nation by taking advantage of the resources in each district and adding value to them. So that's very important. But more importantly, as you just mentioned, education is important. With the AFCFTA, we are seeing about 18 million new jobs created on the continent in the short term for our youth, who form 60% of our population. And that is very important. We understand the implications for security. We understand the implications for wealth creation as well. So it's very important to understand the perspective, even from Ghana alone, the perspective of an African market. And if you invest in any of our countries, if you invest in Ghana, then you have tariff-free access to the other markets there. So we are repositioning ourselves as a hub.
Talking about a hub, this brings me on to the African Investment Promotion Agencies Conference.
Right.
Do you think now is a good time to hold it?
Better than ever before.
Yeah.
As the Chinese say, the best time to have planted a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is now. But in the context of the AFCFTA, we must have a concerted effort for the continent, at least bringing up the standards, making sure that we have learning experiences, and making sure that the less endowed learn from those who have been able to do and progress in attracting investments. Facilitation is very important. And on the back of that, and on the back of the Pan-African investment and trade protocols being negotiated at the AFCFTA, we, the investment promotion authorities and agencies, thought that it was good and right for us to come together. So we start looking at the continent as one important region. We recognize that there's SADC in Southern Africa, there's COMESA, there's ECOWAS in West Africa, and there are regional zones within the continent. But if we work together, we create a bigger market than if each country alone tries to do it alone. We can't do it. But together, we have a powerful force, we have convening power, we have planning power, and we can engage on, together as an association to work for the benefit of the continent. I am the Sub-Saharan Africa Director for Africa on the board of the World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies. And for me, this is one thing that I'm pushing very strongly. So we had the first meeting in Accra a couple of weeks back, and it was very exciting. I mean, all the IPAs, especially the less endowed, were very excited because now they had a pool of resource from which they can tap into, whether in the knowledge or in the practices and all that. And so for us, it's very important.
Yofi, for people watching this today, what would you like them to take away with them?
You know, there's a new Africa, and the whole narrative of Africa, the dark continent, is passé. There's a new Africa of opportunity, there's a new Africa of hope, and I think there's an Africa that's ready to engage. Africa is getting more democratic, never mind the few things that have happened. Africa is becoming more embracing, whilst most other regions in the world are becoming more internal. Africa is opening out to the world. And many years ago, like you had the great adventurers cross seas to places they never knew or never even thought of in the search of hope, Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, David Livingstone, you name it, many of them. And that brought about the New World. Africa is the New World today. Africa is the continent that perhaps has the brightest hope of getting the world to grow again. Its teeming young youth are ready to work, they are ready to engage. And of all, Africa has heart. Africa is a region with heart. We embrace people who come to the continent. We are looking for sustainable partnerships. We are looking for friendships. We are looking for new relationships. And Africa is a new world with a heart waiting for the world.
A new world with a heart. Thank you so much indeed. That's Yofi Grant there, the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Centre here on the programme.